Yes, I do.
What's up, y'all? Welcome into the warm-up show here on Grind City Media. It's Friday night. The Grizzlies are in action here at FedEx Forum against the New York Knicks. Welcome in. I'm Lang Whitaker here with my guy Michael Wallace. We're courtside at FedEx Forum, ready for another Grizzly game tonight. Grizzlies coming in with the same record as our opponent, 38-20, both teams. And the Grizzlies looking to get a little bit of revenge. Last time these two teams played, didn't quite go their way in New York City. But the Grizzlies are coming in hot off an overtime win against the Phoenix Suns the other night, 151-148. Unbelievable game.
I'm still tired thinking about it, man. Yes.
I had an intern with me that night, and when we left, he was like, I don't know, man. How am I supposed to go to sleep after this? I was like, I don't know. That was a crazy game. We'll get to that in a second. Tonight here, a lot of stuff going on. We got all these, you have a bunch of students here from Jackson State University. We got one joining us later. There's all these sororities and fraternities here.
Divine Nine, absolutely.
Divine Nine are here.
Yes.
I know Pastor Marvin Sapp is singing.
Yes. Never would have made it.
Post-game, yeah.
Never would have made it. Concert coming.
There's all sorts of stuff going on.
Mentor groups here.
Mentor groups.
Yes, the Pan-Hellenic Presidents and Leadership is here. And then we got, what is this?
This is the giveaway tonight.
There
the
you
Grizz
go.
block set, recommended for ages 8 and up. It's a little Lego, not Lego, fake Lego, Grizz, these plastic things. There's 437 pieces in this little box.
Yeah.
My son put one together. It took a couple hours because the pieces are like tiny. So if you lose one, you might be in trouble.
Ooh.
But there's 437 pieces in this little box. It's tonight's giveaway. I think first 5,000 fans get that. And we need to get to...
But you buried the lead, though.
What's that?
So you found something to take your son's attention for 2.5 hours. So if you have a kid, come get one of these, and you can leave them for 2.5 hours and just have them work on this thing for a couple hours.
It's either this
get
or
them
the
out of here.
Adderall. Keeps them focused. The other thing is tonight is the 191 collab night with Unapologetic. I'm wearing the jacket. The work collection is the theme of it. There's a picture of it. There's all sorts of stuff they're giving out tonight. I mean, selling tonight in the store. If you're coming in right now, go to the Grizz Den because this stuff's for sale, and once it's sold out, it's gone. There's a jacket, there's a shirt, there's a long sleeve T-shirt, and there's that hat. 4 pieces. We had C Major on with us on Tuesday night to talk about the collection. So lots of stuff going on tonight here at FedEx Forum. And there's another game tomorrow night, and another one on Monday night, and another one on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Longest homestand of the season for the Grizz. I guess we should rewind first and talk about that Suns game a little bit the other night. We talked about it briefly. Unbelievable game for the Grizzlies. It looked like nothing was going their way all night, and somehow they pulled it out.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot was going their way because they kept scoring.
Yeah.
Right? Both teams were scoring. They just didn't. Defense was like optional in that game for both teams for a long time, and a lot wasn't going Ja's way early, but everyone else was on their grind, on their game. But it just showed you the resilience. The Grizzlies got a game that they needed to win. They won in a similar way with a different style against Orlando a couple of nights earlier. An ugly game in the mud. They survived and got a 1-point win. Against Phoenix, it took overtime, and it took Phoenix kind of collapsing towards the end, whereas Orlando kind of collapsed towards the end then. But you got to stack these wins if you're the Memphis Grizzlies, particularly at home.
That game was unbelievable because, to me, I mean, you survive an amazing – their big three played well, the Suns' big three. But then also Bol had a huge game. Grayson Allen had a huge game.
Yes.
They shot over 50% from the floor as a team. They shot over 40% on three-pointers.
Yeah.
All those things go together, and you're like, oh, well, this team's clearly going to win this game.
Scored the most points against as an opponent ever scored. Yes.
And the Grizzlies, all that stuff went against the Grizzlies, and they somehow survived and won it. And then to your point, Ja Morant, that game, Ja Morant struggled from the floor for most of the game, was 0 for 10 on threes, 1 for 10 on threes at one point.
Yeah.
And then he scores the last 11 points in regulation. When you need 12, you call 12, and he's there. Last night, or I guess 2 nights ago at this point, they called 12, and he answers. I talked about that this morning on the Jessica Benson show. I feel like there's just people who have a level they can get to that the rest of us don't have. And I think Ja has that level that I don't have. I don't know about you.
No, man. Yeah, we don't have. And, he talked about it, calling 12, and it's good that he answered, right? Considering he's, kind of downplaying social media right now, right? You can't at 12, but you can call 12, when it comes to that. And this is a guy that he's a competitor, man. There's nobody on this team that embraces those kind of moments more than Ja Morant in terms of of what he's able to do and how many multiple ways he's able to beat you, whether it's with the pass, whether it's with a long jump shot, whether it's getting into the lane. You know, Ja is made for these kind of moments. And, you know, you're just thankful that in a game where Jaren fouled out, that Ja was able to close it because you needed everything you could get from number 1, too.
And a game where Dez struggled a little bit from the floor.
Yeah.
There was other guys who didn't quite play the way they've been playing all season and the last few weeks. And Ja was able to close out there, get those last 11 points.
Santi hit a big shot, though. Jalen Wells had 7
That
of
was
his.
the other guy I want to talk about. Jalen Wells was unbelievable, and we've seen it time and time again for this rookie who comes in. I was actually talking to one of the Knicks broadcasters pregame tonight, and he was like, man, the whole league is looking for, like, tall guys who can shoot and play defense, and Grizzlies go find this guy in the second round. He comes in and starts, and he's unbelievable. Jalen Wells has been incredible. They finished with 19 points, 5 for 5 on threes against the Phoenix Suns. I thought, you know, the thing that with Jalen that's been amazing to me is all season long, he's been getting run-off screens, beat up, knocked down. He never complains. He just keeps fighting through everything, trying to keep playing. At the end of that game, he drew an offensive foul on Grayson Allen.
Yes.
And then he cut to the basket and got the dunk to put the Grizzlies ahead for the game. Like, those are the little things I think that it's just so impressive. He never complains, never says a word. Right there, hits that dunk. Like, Jalen Wells, to me, like, you don't win that game unless you have a Jalen Wells performance like that.
And that's amazing that you would say that, given that, you know, Jalen Wells is still a rookie, right? And people wonder, why is he still a top 3 candidate for Rookie of the Year? And in a lot of ballots, he should be number 1.
I think so.
Because he's doing this on the team that's winning basketball games. He's doing this on the team that's contending for a top 2 seed in the conference with the Grizzlies number 2 in the West. And he's a starter. He started all season long. He started more games this season than any other Grizzlies player because he's that, you know, consistent. And, you know, he's only getting better with every single opportunity. And he doesn't shy away from those moments either.
Yeah. And guard's the best offensive player every night.
Every night.
Who we play, that's his assignment. Playing this Knicks team tonight, last time they played, didn't go so well for the Grizzlies. In New York City a couple months ago, they got pounded 143 to 106.
Right.
Taylor Jenkins talked tonight about just the Grizzlies being on the point of attack. What do you think the Grizzlies are going to have to improve upon tonight to just make this thing competitive?
And that's what you talk, compete.
Yeah.
Compete at home, because you got blown out from the very beginning of that game in New York this time a month ago. And they ran you. Like, everything that they did, they absolutely got around you. They were able to, you know, be more physical than you. They just, they just knocked everything.
There's a lot going on.
They took the first punch. They delivered the first punch. They were just dominant. They need a big game from this big guy right here, Zach Edey, especially if they're going to get, you know, Mitchell Robinson back and still have Karl Anthony Towns too. They got to win the interior to be able to have a good shot.
Mitchell Robinson, from what I was told, is probably going to play tonight.
Yes.
Karl Anthony Towns is probably going to go, and so is Josh Hart. All questionable.
So yeah, all hands on deck for both teams.
Well, look, the Knicks also have a day off in Miami tomorrow, so I think these guys want to win tonight, so they don't have to practice tomorrow in Miami.
Yes.
If they can get this win tonight, so they're going to go all in and try to get this win. We got a guest joining us, right? You
Yes.
Go grab him?
Yes.
He's
I
over
will.
there.
Where'd he go?
He's back there.
Did he get lost?
Behind those guys.
Oh, okay. Come on.
Come give him a seat.
Yeah, it's a Jackson State University student. We have 18 faculty members and students from Jackson State, and they had a chance to shadow us and tour us all day.
Yeah.
Lang, you go ahead and take over the interview from here, and he'll be able to tell you all about it. There you go.
So we got joining us now, Isaiah Wilson. How you doing, sir? Give me a pound. Pull the mic down. There you go. You can see yourself right there.
Hey.
Jackson State student Isaiah Wilson joined us. You've spent the day here walking around everything that happens here. What was it like to go behind the scenes?
Wow, man, I just cannot believe that all of this is in this profession or something I've dreamed of as a child.
Yeah.
It's something that I really did not expect, and I'm just really blessed. I thank God, you know, and I'm happy that I'm at an institution like Jackson State that sets me up for opportunities like this. And, you know, and I hope that I can be somewhere like this in the future, so I can tell my grandkids, my children, that your dad, your grandfather worked in some sort of profession like this.
So my best friend graduated from Jackson State, Sekou Smith, who was part of the sports journalism class a long time ago, passed away a couple years ago. Now there's a scholarship in his name. So I've been keeping an eye on Jackson State the last few years as I've been donating to the Sekou Smith Scholarship Fund at Jackson State. When did you decide that that's what you want to go after and that that's what you want to do for the rest of your life?
Well, so originally I did not plan to go on to Jackson State at first. So when I was in high school, I graduated from Madison Central High School in Madison, Mississippi. I had got accepted to multiple universities, Mississippi State, Jackson State, Southern Miss, and I originally planned to go to Mississippi State, but my ACT score wasn't exactly the best. So I ended up going the JUCO route. I went to Holmes Community College in Goodman, Mississippi. Shout out to them. And I spent 2 years there just kind of perfecting my craft in academics and trying to get the best grades possible. I ended up getting the Phi Theta Kappa scholarship, which allowed me to get a full ride here at Jackson State University.
That's awesome.
And which allowed me to further my education even further. So my mother and my father, they were real adamant about me staying my head in those books and knowing that homework like I know those songs, like parents would tell us. So it was very, very, it was very worth it in the end.
That's
so
amazing.
I really loved it.
Before we let you get out of here, give me your prediction for tonight.
Well, I think tonight's game is going to be a slugfest. It's going to be a dogfight. The Grizzlies have got to learn how to take care of the ball better. They got to learn how to create more points, rebound. It's going to be a dogfight tonight. The Grizzlies, they got to be on their P's and Q's. The Knicks, they're going to come out and try to do like it was last time. They got to learn how to finish. They got to learn how to not dig themselves in a hole that they cannot climb out of. So if they learn how to win tonight, they got to win tonight. If they learn how to stay focused, not turn the ball over, create more opportunities, they will win tonight, and they'll send them back up north.
All right, let's go, Grizz. Hey, we're going to take a break. Come right back. Jessica Benson's going to join us. You're watching the warm-up show on Grind City Media.
To see you at an AAU tournament.
I knew Coach Calipari was in the crowd. I had this incredible game. I had maybe 17 dunks in the first half or something. One of my guys was like, "Yeah, I think Coach Calipari was speaking with one of the NBA scouts, and they're saying, yeah, you're not gonna go to college, bro. You're going straight to the league." I was like, "That's the plan, but if I don't, I definitely want to go to Memphis," and that's how I went down.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
We touched on this earlier, the panel here, about what really has been the mainstay of the Grizzlies, and that's Jaren Jackson Jr. Trip has just been awesome.
He's posting guys up. He's stronger than he's ever been. He's physical, and he's scoring all type of ways.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We did get a new shoe that dropped today that we should all be able to get if we want it.
Fire.
And it's been one people have been waiting for a long, long time.
Yep.
Asia Wilson. What do you guys think about the shoe?
I love it.
It looks great. We see people wearing Jaws. We see a lot of people wearing the GT line. But then also we see a lot of NBA players wearing the Sabrinas.
Sabrina, yeah.
I bet you there's going to be a lot of NBA players wearing
I agree with you on that.
too.
Oh, yeah.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app. Welcome back to the warm-up show here on Grind City Media. Lang Whitaker, courtside here at FedEx Forum alongside Jessica Benson as the Grizzlies get ready to take on the New York Knicks. And Jessica always joins us. We talk about tonight's main character. Who have you selected as tonight's main character?
Well, the last main character, we did a place. And
Yeah,
as I told
it
you,
was here.
nouns, people, place, things, themes, ideas. The main character is revenge, Lang. Yeah.
I like that.
Go with it. The
Yeah.
main character tonight is revenge because that's what the Grizzlies have the opportunity
need to do. And if there is any loss to avenge from this season, it really does feel like it's the Knicks. Sure, you can make the argument the Thunder are in town on Wednesday. I could have the same conversation. But as it pertains to that loss to the Knicks, that was the worst the Grizzlies have looked. Like statistically, their worst loss of the year. Vibes-wise, their worst loss of the year. It's in Madison Square Garden, so it adds a little extra energy to it. And now you have the Knicks here tonight, and what could be the first time the Knicks are fully healthy all season. We just got word that Desmond Bane is good to go for the Memphis Grizzlies, so that's great news when it comes to having their big three available. But it sets up a really fun matchup between the number 2 team in the West, number 3 team in the East.
Somebody, I told Mike, I was told the Knicks want to get a win tonight because they have a day off in Miami tomorrow. And if they lose tonight, they might have to practice tomorrow in Miami. So I think they're all incentivized to play tonight.
I think so too. And I get that the Grizzlies don't fall into the elite category in the NBA this season. That line has been clearly drawn with the Cavs, the Celtics, and the Thunder at this point. That can, the
Holy Trinity.
That can certainly grow. They all got the 40-20 Phil Jackson thing going for them. But if you're the Knicks and you're in the New York media and that is a loud market of you can't beat the best teams, the Grizzlies are right there. So you at least want to be of this next crop of really, really good teams that Grizzlies, Knicks, Rockets, Nuggets, Lakers kind of fit into the 60% or better winning percentage. The Knicks can't afford to say we're 0-7 against the top 3 and just took a loss to the Grizzlies.
And to be able to say we beat them twice. You know, so.
And for the Grizzlies, it's the same thing. That's the most interesting thing about tonight's matchup is I think both fan bases and talking heads and journalists would all look at this and say, these two teams are very, very good. They just haven't been able to beat the best. But when you put them up against each other, who at this point in the season is at a better point?
All right, Jessica Benson joining us. You can catch her down on ESPN 92.9 on the broadcast. She'll be back here tomorrow night on another warm-up show. Take a quick break. We'll be right back. Matt Infield joining us from WMC Action News.
One game could change everything, and hopefully this gives them a ton of momentum going into Friday playing against New York, because that's going to be obviously a monster game for them, and I think one of those that fans want to prove their worth. They have also had their struggles against good teams. You and I were both at the one in New York.
Right.
And New York destroyed them. But New York has fallen apart defensively over the course of the last month and has not played nearly as well as they were when they first faced the Grizzlies. And so hopefully you get a little momentum and you feel good about yourself going into that one after last night.
I mean, Friday's going to be huge. Just like the Knicks being good is awesome. The Knicks being good and in town on a Friday night is awesome.
What's up? Welcome back to the warm-up show here on Grind City Media. Lang Whitaker, joined now by, we're playing the Knicks. I had to bring in a New York guy back. It's okay. You don't have to. You don't have to try to act. No, you don't have to act like it's like you're not a fan. That's cool. You're from New York.
For sure.
He's in New York. Matt Infield from WMC Action News 5. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
You grew up a Knicks fan.
Yep.
Let's be honest with it.
Unfortunately, for a lot of it at least.
We talked before this season about the trade they made. You know, bringing in Karl-Anthony Towns. It's worked out pretty well.
Yep.
Do you think they belong in that top tier of teams? Because Jessica and I just talked about,
No, I don't think so. And that's what I remember that conversation before the season. And there was rightful reason for speculation. I think it's worked out pretty well. I mean, Karl-Anthony Towns has been a special offensive player. But I said the other day, I was on Grisby with Jarvis. I think they're kind of hard capped right now at the 4th best team in the league, and which is great, but they're not on the same level as Boston, Cleveland, or OKC. And I think that they're trying to find out, okay, are we this incredible offensive team that doesn't have any of the defensive identity of last year, or can we regain some of that toughness that made us special last season? But right now, I honestly can't put them in that tier, no.
So when you see teams that play against this Knicks team, that give this Knicks team trouble, what do you think the Grizzlies need to do to be able to compete against this Knicks team? Because when we played in New York, Grizzlies got blown out by 40 points.
That was interesting, too, because that looked like a game where the Knicks were comfortable playing at the pace that the Grizzlies are so comfortable playing at. So I don't know if the Grizzlies can really play a half-court, methodical style of game, a la maybe what the Knicks would have been comfortable with last season. I imagine you got to turn them over a whole bunch. I'm curious, Mitchell Robinson is going to make his season debut tonight. How much does he play? Can the Grizzlies go after him a little bit? Because that's going to be the first time he's been on the court with these guys this season. So I'm curious to see how that plays out, because I think every Knicks fan is saying this is kind of the X factor that might determine how far they could go. Can he fix their defense or not?
So last year the Knicks kind of caught everyone by surprise, right? It was like, Thibodeau's here and it's fun and it's do you feel like are those vibes still there, like the Knicks fans, or does it feel like this is sort of like a different thing?
It feels different. I still think that there's confidence in Tibbs from what I've gathered. I have kind of had the thought in my mind of Tibbs came in, and it's been a successful tenure. But, we talked about it honestly with J.B. Bickerstaff and Kenny Atkinson in Cleveland the other day, where you look at what J.B. Bickerstaff, after he got fired from Cleveland, what he's doing in Detroit. Some coaches can raise the floor of a team and make them competent when they're down at the bottom. There are other coaches that could change the ceiling of a team, a la what Kenny Atkinson has done in Cleveland this year. I've at least had a couple of thoughts in my head of, is Tom Thibodeau a floor raiser, but not a ceiling elevator? I don't know if I'm quite there yet, but it's just a little bit disconcerting that they've completely gone away from what made them successful last year.
The floor is now the roof, or I don't know. I feel like
listen, I'm not going to complain too much.
Floor raising and ceiling elevation. I feel like we're on this old house.
This team was abysmal for so much of my life. I'm enjoying the fact that I can complain about them being the fourth best team in the NBA right now, if that's what they are in that range. But obviously, we want to see a parade.
Yeah, I know. I get it. Like, I was in New York for a long time. I saw them constantly trade away the future to try to get better right away, and it just never worked. And they finally found feels like they found the right front office, coaching staff, whole thing. Like, there's something they're building there. Hey, I think we work together now.
We do, and we've got some exciting stuff to talk about.
Yeah. So the 5 Grizzlies upcoming games are going to be a simulcast on WMC 5. So they got announced yesterday?
Yep, it was yesterday.
So there's going to be 5 games coming up on Gray Media. There's going to be in the 3 biggest markets in Tennessee. What do we get out of this? Do we get anything?
I mean, it'd be nice if we got a little bonus out of it. Jonathan Mitchell, if you're listening. No, I'm just kidding. Man, I think it's awesome, though, because, I mean, let's be honest. Like, obviously the talent at the RSN level is amazing, but trying to keep up with all the changes, and it's an evolving business, it can be tough for a lot of people. So to put it simply, hey, you turn on Channel 5, if you got an antenna, whatever, you can just watch it for free. I think that's awesome. And the fact that it's I've heard some people in Memphis say, well, Nashville, Knoxville, we don't care about them. The more eyeballs on the team, the better. There are a ton of fans in those regions as well. So, yeah, I think it's a really exciting move. When did I caught wind of it Wednesday night, the night before the announcement. When did you first hear about it? Was it yesterday?
I will decline to comment.
Got it. Okay, sounds good.
Put it around then.
Okay. So I found out about Wednesday night, and immediately I was like, oh, my God, this is so cool.
Yeah. I found out like the day before.
Yeah.
I think maybe we all get championship rings now or something.
That would be cool if they win.
That's kind of cool, right?
Like I said, if it's not the Knicks, I would not mind a parade on Beale Street. That's for sure.
Worst case, maybe we can get like jerseys, personalized jerseys.
I'm good with that too, as long as they're authentic.
All right. We'll tell them we got a bar set. All right, Matt Infield, WMC Action News 5. Thanks for joining us.
Man, appreciate you.
We'll be right back. You're watching the warm-up show here on Grind City Media.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Morant. Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing at FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
Where will Aaron Rodgers play?
Gosh.
God, I can't believe we're doing this again.
You know who it's going to be.
Oh.
Tennessee Titans. Tighten up.
Oh, no.
You know they're going to do it. You know they're going to do it.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
45-minute video on Tony Allen on YouTube.
I just saw it yesterday.
He managed to dominate the NBA for 14 years, despite missing one of basketball's most important skills. But here's the crazy thing.
Why does that hurt your feelings?
It didn't hurt my feelings.
It's positive.
He at least should have more of my highlights.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Norris one-handed on the feed.
If you
you go to a hustle game, you're going to see a very fast-paced game. A lot of action, both offensively, defensively.
Nice rejection right there.
In a great environment at the Landers Center. You could bring family there, kids are running around.
Down the lane and one for Zion Poland.
And then you're going to see a lot of talented basketball players competing at a high level.
Welcome back to the warm-up show here on Grind City Media. We got about 5 minutes before we'll hand you off to FanDuel Sports Network and ESPN 92.9 for their pregame shows. Michael Wallace and I courtside here at FedEx Forum, getting ready for the Grizzlies and the Knicks. Mitchell Robinson is officially a go for the Knicks. I think everyone else is too. So it looks like we're going to have a couple of Des Bane is good to go.
Available.
Gigi Jackson's out. So looks like everybody's going to play tonight, and we'll have a clash of the Titans here at FedEx Forum. Grizzlies trying to. Jessica's main character tonight was revenge. The Grizzlies try to get a little revenge tonight against this Knicks team. That beat them pretty bad in New York a couple weeks ago. Like we always do at this time, we go around the NBA and look at some of the bigger stories happening. And in San Antonio this week, we found out that Greg Popovich is not going to return this season. Pop had the stroke earlier this year, had been out. There was talk about perhaps he's going to be back, maybe he won't be back. But we got a statement this week from Popovich. He said, I've decided not to return to the sidelines. I will continue to focus on my health with the hope I can return to coaching in the future. What do you think this means for the Spurs weeks? Jessica and I talked about it at her show this morning. Do you think, like, if Pop does come back, if he doesn't come back, there's such a DNA in place there, there's such a blueprint in place, like I feel like it's kind of going to be fine no matter what happens, right?
I don't think, I'm not going to speak for Greg Popovich.
We don't want to guess what his health is.
And I know that he didn't go out the way he wanted to go out, so there's still going to be something to be said, especially now that he has two great young pieces there to continue to build this team in Victor Wembanyama and obviously De'Aaron Fox. But Popovich is the Spurs. Like, the Spurs are Popovich, and it's not like he's going to ever be too far away from his influence on that team. So I know he's getting up there in age. It takes a lot to do the travel and the practices and all of those things, but he certainly has his imprint on everything that the organization is doing, even from where his position is right now.
I would also say, as much as he is the Spurs publicly, R.C. Buford is behind the scenes the Spurs too, and he's still there. And I think as long as Buford's still in place, and like the other night, the Suns played the Grizzlies here. I was looking at the coaching staffs. I was like, these are all Pop guys. Like the Popovich tree goes all over the NBA at this point. So his influence is going to be felt forever.
Well, the Popovich tree has produced other trees as well too, because now there's a Budenholzer tree, right? And you're seeing, certain guys have
Taylor
trees.
Jenkins is starting to have a tree.
As a tree, right? So now you have grandfather trees and all of those kind of things. But Popovich, man, and here's the thing that's going to date us here, is that I was in San Antonio as an intern at the San Antonio Express News, and I covered the story when he took over. When he came out of the front office and replaced Bob
Hill?
Bob Hill. Bob Hill. Kicked Bob Hill to the side. Popovich took over, and, it's funny that happened, but that was 1995. And being in San Antonio in 95, 96 to see it all. So his legacy speaks for itself, whether he coaches again or not from the bench.
That's amazing. We heard today that Joel Embiid is officially out for the season. But just the other day, one of the most prolific NBA podcasters, Paul George, announced he was going to step away from podcasting to focus on that championship chase. I mean, I don't know how Joel Embiid being out affects his chase for a championship, but hopefully he has more time now that he's not podcasting. I was just wondering, like, you host podcasts, I host podcasts. Is it really taking you away from other aspirations?
Well, what I did, Lang, and I said this before, what I did, and I told Gary Parrish this too, I set aside my basketball pursuit so I can focus on podcasting.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Look where it brought us.
Yeah, I mean, look at where it got us. We're still right here, right? I think this is Paul George, acquiescing to the social media and the public backlash for, obviously, you're losing games, you're barely playing.
He's actually been better after a podcast this year than when he takes a day off.
And that's crazy, But this is him. He doesn't want to have to answer why why they suck so much.
Yeah.
And you can't do a podcast that doesn't talk about basketball and your own struggles. So it makes sense, but it's much ado about nothing. That's the world we live in today.
Yeah.
You know, he's great, though. That podcast is absolutely great. It gets a lot of insight out of a lot of players, and I love it. These guys that are doing podcasts now, you know, Out the Mud with Tony Allen and Zebo. And
I'm rocking with Jeff Teague, Club 520.
Jeff Teague has always been one of the good ones, right? I'm not so much this Gilbert Arenas one with these Nick Young dudes. That one is just blasphemy, but other ones, they're doing great.
Hey, we got less than a minute here. Give me one matchup tonight you're watching.
Ja Morant, you know, obviously the head of the stake for the Grizzlies, going up against Jalen Brunson. The head of the stake against the Knicks. Whoever controls the pace and the tempo is going to win this game.
Yeah. All right, we'll see if the Grizzlies can get a little revenge from that game in New York a couple of weeks ago. So, right now you can flip over to ESPN 92.9 to catch Jessica, Eric, Elliot, and Bennett. Flip over to FanDuel Sports Network. You got Fish, Verno, Brevin, and Pete. The games are going to be on in half an hour. We'll be back tomorrow night. Grizzlies taking on those San Antonio Spurs right here. I'll be here. We have a wrestling superstar joining us tomorrow night.
Wow.
I'm not going to say who, but we have a wrestling superstar joining us tomorrow night.
Great teaser.
We have an NBA Hall of Famer coming on next week, too, but I'm not going to say who that is. So, hope to see you. We'll be back here in 24 hours. You're watching the warm-up show here on Grind City Media.
Good deal.